Hello everyone, thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be on how to do an aquarium water change. We're going to do a very basic water change using some very basic items that the beginner fish keeper would have or should have by now. Now, before we start, it's very important to turn off all your equipment. You can leave things like lights running. If you run sponge filters, I leave my sponge filters running unless I'm going to be draining the water below the lift tube. So in this case, my sponge filters are going to stay running, but I'm going to shut my heater off, and I also leave a light on just so I can better see what's going on. So before we start, go ahead and do that now. Alright, so the items I'm going to be using is a standard gravel vacuum and hose. I'm actually not going to use this one. This one's a little small. I'm going to be using a bigger one that I have here in a 5-gallon bucket. Those are the only two things I'm going to be using for this water change, just to keep it very basic and show you the very basic way to do it. So once you have your gravel vacuum, you have your bucket, let's begin. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to remove all my rocks. Now this is not a must, it's just something I do, being that this is a grow out tank. I want to make sure that this water is pristine as I can possibly make it. If you don't want to remove your decorations during the gravel vacuum process, make sure you're lifting it up because waste does get trapped under these rocks, as you'll probably see, maybe not in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these rocks, and I'm going to start my siphon. Alright, so now that my rocks are removed, I'm going to go ahead and begin the siphon process. I start my siphon a little different than most, and I will show this in a later video. It's a great way to start your siphon, and it eliminates, stressing your fish out too much. So what I'm doing right now is I have my hose pinched off, and I'm going to show you how I clean my substrate. So I keep a nice pinch on this hose here, that way no water is coming out. And what I'll do is I'll start, you start anywhere. I'm a very uniform person, so I like to make sure, I'm very symmetrical with things. So I'm going to start right in the middle. So I'm going to release my kink I have in the hose, and as the suction starts, I'm going to stab it in, release to let the sand go, and shake the tube just slightly. And now I'm picking all the debris up off the surface of my aquarium. Alright, so now that I have my substrate cleaned to where I want it, I am going to go ahead and do a next step that you can really do at any time, well, before you start adding water, preferably, because you want to take all this gunk out. But I'm going to I have here is a Scotch-Brite pad on this little plastic handle. It's removable. You can use a razor blade, you can use a magnet cleaner, whatever you want, but I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to scrape the front panel of my glass just to get any algae buildup off the glass. So I simply come in here and I give it a good scrub, and any of that algae will now free float in the tank, and as I drain the remainder of the water, it'll all go out. Now the fish aren't a big fan of this, but they'll be alright. I just make quick work of it. And go ahead and get this side. I leave my algae on the back glass for video purposes. It helps eliminate glare in a video. Alright, so I've scrubbed the algae off my glass, off my front panel. You can all see it free floating in the tank. I'm now going to drain out about 5 more gallons, get all that nastiness out. I leave the algae on the back of my glass for video purposes. Actually, it just helps cut down on the glare. So I'm now going to drain the remaining 5 gallons and show you what's next. Stay tuned. Alright, so quick recap. What I did was I shut all my equipment down, I left my lights on, I left my sponge filters on, and I explained why in the beginning of the video. I then went ahead and removed my rocks. I gravel vacuumed my substrate, I scrubbed my front glass to rid the algae, and then drained about 5 more gallons of water. So what I did now is I went and I added some rock back. Obviously it's not the same rock, but I don't go for a super pretty look in these grow out tanks. I'm just trying to keep it basic and create a lot of swimming room. So I put some different rock in there, kind of confuse these guys a little bit and give them some new places to check out. So now we're on to the filling process. Now, if you're a beginner and you don't have any of the fancy water changing systems, you're going to go ahead and fill your tank back up with buckets. Buckets are difficult. Just remember, pour slow and you won't disturb, kick a bunch of sand up or anything. Pour slow. You can even put a Tupperware container in the tank, pour into the Tupperware container so the water then flows over. But before that, we want to treat our water. Now I use 2 products. All right, so I shouldn't have said 2 products. It's actually 1, and that's Chem Prime. This stuff is amazing. It's a nitrite ammonia detoxifier, as well as it rids chlorine and chloramine. There's also Chem Safe, which is the powdered version of this, which is cheaper. I will leave links in the description below for both of these products. In my opinion, they're a must-have. It's like I always preach, it's better to be safe than sorry. So anyways, now I'm going to go ahead and dose this. Now the best way to do it would be to pre-mix it, but I don't keep barrels on standby full of water. So I just go ahead and I dose. I add my dose to the tank and then I begin the filling process. So stay tuned and we'll fill this tank. All right, everyone, so my tank is now filling as we speak, and we've pretty much completed the process. Now, once your tank is full and you have stopped filling, you can then go ahead and kick your filters back on, all the rest of your equipment. Don't forget to prime your filters. You don't want to dry accelerate filters. So make sure you do all that. Now, if you want more, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to put a video out on how I refill these tanks with a water change system that I made myself. Very easy, very cheap. Will save you tons of money. Also, what you can expect too is a water change tutorial that I actually use when I change most of the water out of my tanks. It's very fast, saves a lot of time, especially when you're doing big water changes, anything 50% or more. So again, if you like this video, please subscribe, like, comment, whatever you feel necessary. I really hope this helped the beginner out in this hobby who was really dreading that water change. It's very easy, and remember how crucial it is, guys. These are your pets. They're relying on you to provide them perfect conditions, just like a dog, cat, bird, squirrel, raccoon, whatever it might be. They're relying on you. So please provide them with that pristine water in a great environment. So again, thank you. I hope everyone has a great rest of your weekend.